take us and explain it to our viewers that what is the real on-ground situation. Niranjan, good morning. Thank you for joining us. These are difficult days. I don't want to use the word dark days because I'm an eternal optimist. But on ground, what is the reality? How bad is the economic activity for the real estate sector?
I think basically we shouldn't count these lockdown days because the lockdown days are absolutely imperative, and there is no question of discussion on that. But the net effect is that real estate is actually going through a tough time, more tough than I can ever see in my whole 40 years of career. So, and the stretch has been pretty long. So the resilience on the back of many of the stakeholders is really breaking. And I think we do need intervention in terms of various fronts that we need to do. Additionally, today, we are very worried about the construction workers who have to get their daily food and rations. We've distributed rations to the construction workers who are on our sites, but they are without work because we are not allowed to get them to work in spite of the fact that they are living right next to the construction site. So I think we will just have to go through this period and hope and pray that it will spring back. But obviously, it's going to take another 6 to 12 months before real estate can spring back to its original position. And it all depends on whether COVID is on stage 2 or stage 3. If it is on stage 3, obviously, the net effect would be much more serious. And now that the testing has been permitted to private laboratories and other hospitals are opened up as of yesterday, I think we will come to know probably by next Sunday or by the 31st as to the net effect of whether we are on stage 2, stage 3. Once we realize and understand, have we got it under control, I think that's going to be a major issue. So Mumbai, Maharashtra lockdown, Delhi locking down, I think the net effect should come out by Friday or by next Sunday.
Now, let's understand, where do you think this entire retail cycle is moving? Because the lockdown is real, a shutdown is real. It will have an impact on wages, income, and salaries. The question I'm trying to ask and understand from everyone is that, we've not seen a large scale of retail delinquency in the housing sector, in the HFC sector. Do you think the inevitable could happen now?
I think it is. I think it's up to the government to decide whether that will happen or not. It has nothing to do with the consumer. The government has to say that there will be a 3 to 6 month sabbatical to all installments to be paid, which will not be considered as NPA. Number 2, they should allow a one-time rollover or restructuring of all the loans. This was done in October of 2008 when the crisis was 1% of what it is today during the Lehman crisis. If you do that, then at least you're saving all the people from actually causing a default. All they are doing is postponing the installment and restructuring the loan. So I think the RBI needs to intervene today before the 31st of March, and the government and finance minister needs to intervene to say, not only in the case of real estate, it's about everything, whether it's transport, whether it is manufacturing, whether it is SMEs. We need a sabbatical of 6 months to say that all payments, and payments, whether it's income tax, whether it's GST, whether it's local taxes, whether it is any payments relating to that, will not be considered as NPA. That's all that is needed to be done. So if you really think of it in a simplified manner as to what is the problem, you can solve 80% by one fiat of saying that all statutory dues postponed by 6 months and all the things. And, deficit financing is not an issue really today. We need to actually pump money into the market very, very quickly, into the customer's hand, into the stakeholders' hands, into the SME's hands. And if they do that, we will ride over this crisis very easily. So the solutions are easy, but the government has to take the steps.
Now, Niranjan, fair point that these are difficult days and extraordinary measures have to be taken. Everyone is saying that government needs to go liberal. They need to change the way how NPAs are classified. Like you said, rework on the way how repayments have to be done. But ultimately, it's all about government's ability and capacity to do it. We know the tax numbers for last year, and if anything,
I'm sorry to intervene. I don't agree with you at all. The government has the ability to do it. The government has the ability to do it. They can do it. It has happened. It's a war-like situation. How can we say the government doesn't have the ability? Forget the government. Even the RBI has the ability. So I don't agree with you at all when you say that government doesn't have the ability or the RBI doesn't have the ability. Both of them have the ability. It's only that they have to take the steps. So I am total disagreement with everybody who has come on your thing that it is not possible to solve the problem. We can solve the problem. It can be solved by the end of this week on the financial side. And it's not a very difficult thing. It's a war-like situation. We have to take war-like steps. When you can shut down the city, why can't you do the economic side also and do that shutdown also relating to the payments? We've done it in 2008 when there was Lehman crisis, which was only 1% of today. Why can't we do it then?
Looking for that answer because up until now we've had too many commentators, too many corporates who've been saying that, look, don't cut interest rates down. Government does not have the capacity. I appreciate the fact that you've been frank and honest. Okay, my last question, sir, is very simple. It's going to be the real estate sector before the crisis was in a downward spiral. So what happens now? A good quality builders, few big ones like yours will not have, problems. Your balance sheet is a strong balance sheet. But what happens to smaller builders? What happens to the tier 2 builders? Are we looking at a serious bankruptcy coming within the real estate sector by some small and weak builders?
So we got to change the bankruptcy law and suspend it for the next 6 months. No company should be allowed to go into bankruptcy for the next 6 months. It should be an automatic process and the bankruptcy law should be suspended for 6 months. So no company which is going into default from today till September should be taken to bankruptcy, and each one should be allowed to restructure accordingly. That's not a difficult measure to do. We can simply suspend the bankruptcy by an ordinance to be issued since Parliament will close today. We can suspend bankruptcy so there are no bankrupt real estate, no bankrupt infrastructure companies, no bankrupt any other company today or SMEs or anything for the next 6 months. I think we need to give everybody a relief and a breath of air rather than getting everybody to go underground or go into bankruptcy. But this is a matter of law. It's so simple to do. I don't understand why it sounds very complicated to everybody on the screen. I think it's a simple thing when you can do it by a fiat. You should pass an ordinance tomorrow morning, once close Parliament, pass an ordinance and suspend it for 6 months. How long does it take to pass an ordinance?
Mr. Hiranandani, I've understood, of course, what you're saying is the need of the hour. You're, of course, in constant touch, of course, with government bodies. We've been hearing there are going to be some high-level meetings today, hoping for some announcements later today. I want to get a sense from you on, we know what needs to be done, but are they listening? Is there a sense of urgency in the conversations that industry is having at this point of time with the government?
See, ultimately, you will come to know before me whether they are listening, because we are not interested in the listening, we are interested in the action. So I'm only interested in not the government listening, but to take action. RBI needs to take action, government needs to take action. And if they don't take action, they will destroy the economy. They'll destroy the economy for 10 years. And if they take action, we can put everything back on track within 6 months. It's so simple as that. I don't see any problem. So where's the question of not listening? Would they be deaf not to listen to the fact of reality? They will listen. Of course, they are interested in not destroying the economy. I don't think the RBI wants to destroy our economy. I don't think the government wants to destroy our economy. Why would they not listen? So I don't have an iota of doubt that they will not listen. The question is, will they take action fast and quick, or will they become the economic Italy of the co-virus? So it's up to the government to decide and act very quickly instead of becoming the Italy where the president has to cry on the TV. I mean, we have to decide that we need to do it today, and we can't wait for tomorrow morning for giving these reliefs. So I'm not interested in people listening. I want them to act today.
Fair point, Mr. Hiranandani. I sense the urgency there, and I think it's the need of the hour. We're hearing that from all fronts. Thank you so much for sharing that with us.